Hello and welcome back to Racing Weekly, a podcast and YouTube show brought to you by oddschecker in association with Bet365. I'm Steve Ryder, this week joined by Tom Bull and Ed Quigley. The World Cup's over, Wimbledon's over, the Open is over, so it must be a bit easier for me to keep you all on track today. Just like you had to do, Tom, luck on Sunday as hosting there. How did you find that?
That was good, yeah, really fun. Really nice of Nick to give me a go and very much enjoyed it. A different show to what I usually do, a bit longer format, but really enjoyed it and hopefully did a decent job. You mentioned the sporting summer, still got the Tour de France, that's still going, so not quite done with it yet, I'm afraid, Steve. But yeah, I mean, I think we've got a little bit more time to reflect and concentrate on the racing, haven't we?
Yeah, definitely. Ed, how have you been?
Yeah, very good, thanks. But yeah, very much flags at half-mast in my house now. 8 months to the next golfing major, football gone. I mean, that hello, darkness, my old friend song kind of kicked in, and I'm just there, like, you know, on the sofa, like, I've got to concentrate on the racing, basically. I've got no excuses now to get sidetracked. So, yeah, it's coming thick and fast, and obviously a belting weekend at Ascot in particular to really look forward to, and yeah, should be a cracker.
Yeah, Ascot and York is where we're going to be concentrating later in the show, but we're going to start off this week with a racing recap. So the highlight of the weekend was the Irish Oaks. Johanna Walsh beat the supplemented pair of Inishmore and Sparrow Newer by 4 lengths, Tom. Thundering On came out, but Joseph O'Brien and Dylan McMonagle still managed to win the Oaks.
Yeah, I mean, the Joseph O'Brien show, isn't it? Just constantly, every week. I mean, it just seems to be... It's a bandwagon and a caravan that just keeps rolling on and just gets better and better. I mean, I find it phenomenal how he can keep this consistency at such a high level every week, because there isn't a week where he disappoints, seemingly. I mean, he's just got so much ammunition. It shows how much experts know, right? Because I thought Earthshot would confirm the form of the Ribblesdale with Johanna Walsh. It wasn't to be at all. I thought Earthshot got a little bit cool moored. I thought James Doyle was boxed in a pocket and couldn't get out, and that is usually what happens at the Curragh if you go there and you get caught in a position that's uncompromising, which is exactly what happened to him. But Johanna Walsh, I mean, she was brilliant, absolutely superb. She's clearly improving. I mean, she's built on what was a very good run at Ascot. I think this race probably worked out more in her favour. It suited her better the way the race has run, but there's no doubt she's improving and she's definitely progressing. And yeah, I mean, wherever she goes next, like the Yorkshire Oaks, I think she's going to be very tough to beat the rest of the season. I mean, Thundering On coming out was a shame. I do have it in my head now whether it's possibly going to be one of those that she was so impressive in the Oaks at Epsom. The form hasn't worked out amazingly well of that. We haven't seen her since we saw her pretty probably, but she disappointed. Then she was obviously off her feed before Saturday. So I'm just starting to get a little bit concerned about whether she's just going to become one of those fillies that we've seen her once at her best, and maybe it's just going to be disappointing. But a bit early to say that. However, super sub, Johanna Walsh, she was brilliant, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was, yeah. Let's touch on the winner and probably Thundering On at the same time. I just think Thundering On handles that softer ground. I imagine we'll probably see her later on in the autumn at her best.
Yeah, spot on. You do worry she's become a little bit of a sick note. I should say, Pretty Polly, the official line was she was coughing afterwards. She's now been off her feed. I still think the Pretty Polly 10 furlongs on rattling quick ground was probably not to her strengths anyway. She just glided through the rain-softened ground at Epsom, didn't she? I mean, as soon as she crossed the line, I thought Arc de Triomphe. I still don't think that's the daftest of plays. As long as she's not drawn in the Eiffel Tower come October, a bit of cut in the ground. I actually think, I think she's 14 to 1. I think that would be the race tailor-made for a soft ground 1.5 miles. Filly's allowance, obviously, belting record in the race. I know it's a long way away, but Joseph O'Brien will be working back from a target. He's shown a good track record of doing so. So I wouldn't be giving up on her. I still think she's probably the best of the bunch. But the super sub came in and won with aplomb. So yeah, well done.
Yeah, anything in behind Amelia Earhart? The switch of headgear didn't really work. Rebel Moon caught my eye. Another for Joseph. Back in fourth, I thought possibly a drop back to 10 furlongs. I thought she travelled really well into the race and just didn't quite get home.
Yeah, I mean, that was her third start, wasn't it? I mean, she'll be winning a 1 mile 2 Group 1 for sure, I think, on that. I mean, she looked like she loomed up as though she was the winner. And then I think you're right, the trip possibly found her out, maybe stepping up into that company for the first time at this stage of her career. But it was massively eye-catching. I do think Earthshot is worth keeping on side in the future. Obviously, nothing worked out for her, but she showed at Ascot that she takes ages just to get rolling into top gear. She's a real grinder. When she hits that top gear and really gets going and the Stokes of the Coles are stoked up, that she just shows what she can do. She's very strong at the line over a mile and a half, but I just think she needs things to go her way. I actually thought the Curragh would suit her with that long home straight, but she could just never get out and get rolling. That was the issue, but I wouldn't be giving up on her at all.
Yeah, we need to get Coolmore into the dictionary, don't we? Because I do think she was.
Yeah, the Inish Moore first start at that trip, David Minucier, She Murphy, a little bit keen early, then probably didn't quite get the rubber to green. I see on pedigree, she'd probably get a mile 6, and she was doing her best work at the line. I think having have a crack at a mile and a half next, but I wouldn't put it past the team to have a go at a staying event. David Minucier seems to like a mile 6 individual. Was it Sunway who seemed to be running over that trip all last year? I could see her at the back end of the season perhaps having a crack at the leisure distance and that type of angle. But Johanna Walsh, the Jose O'Brien show, as I said, we've been here for Melbourne Cups, King George's, Group 1s on the flat. Quite a remarkable CV for a 33-year-old.
Unbelievable, isn't he? We'll then move on to the Curragh Cup, and Joseph O'Brien wins again. Trust Your Instinct beat Happy Pharaoh and stablemate Al Riffa back in third. Apparently likely to head to the Irish St Ledger next. Were you impressed by this?
Yes. Amazing, really. When you look at the profile of this individual, has obviously mixed it in both codes, was the first start at 1 mile 6 on the level. So even though the horse does have a few miles on the clock, he's thoroughly untapped at staying trips, or mile 6 plus. So it's going to open up a whole new avenue. And it was hard not to be, really. Travelled well, and when push came to shove, found plenty. Al Riffa has run a very solid race again in defeat. Wonder whether the coals are quite burning as they once were. I think that they're still burning enough, but potentially younger, fresher legs are starting to go past Al Riffa, who did run well. But Joseph O'Brien show once again. But Trust Your Instinct, one start over a mile 6, that really surprised me. Actually go through the form, loads of 12, 10, 12 furlong form, but stepped up to mile 6, won well, and might be a tricky horse to place, but I think the Irish Ledger looks like the perfect race as a kind of next port of call. So never tick for the young O'Brien stable.
Yeah, I mean, he's got quite a good race planner with Kevin Blake, but whisper it quietly, he's rated 113 on the flat, 123 over hurdles.
That's what I'm saying, it's mad, really.
Hasn't ran in that code since winning a maiden hurdle in May 2024, so that must be on there. I thought Declan McGonaugh was brilliant on him. He's ridden him 10 times, only finished out the frame on one of those and was 1-4. So obviously Dylan Brown McMonagle is the main guy at Joseph's, but Declan McDonough is not too bad replacement.
No, absolutely right. And actually, when he won at Tremor over hurdles, I thought they're probably going to keep him over hurdles and see what they can do with him. But as you say, not been seen since then. I thought he was really visually very impressive. And you look at that race and you think, he's shown a lovely turn of foot, first start over the trip on the flat. There's so much to like about this. I would take it with a slight pinch of salt, though. Illinois, don't think ran a race. No. He sort of managed to last home, didn't he, at Royal Ascot? And I think this is just... He's not quite the horse he was, I don't think, actually. Al Riffa, as Ed was saying, just doesn't seem to, again, be the same kind of horse that he once was at the moment, at least.
I mean, he won a Group 1 at 2, didn't he?
Exactly.
It's amazing to think he's still coming.
And I even though he didn't get a clear run, I don't think he would have won or even got close to the winner. And Happy Pharaoh, I thought, was given a tremendous ride by Paddy Hartnett. Because if you look at the race IQ figures, I know that you do regularly, they went very slow in the middle part of the race. From saying mile to a mile 2, they went really slow. And in the end, Trust Your Instinct finished 111% finishing speed, and you could tell that the turn of foot, given the flat speed over that trip, the flat speed over a mile and a quarter was seen to great effect over a mile 6. So I just take it with a little bit of a pinch of salt. I'm not sure about the strength of the form and the way the race panned out. Tactically, really suited the winner. That said, so much untapped potential over that kind of distance. So I'm looking forward to see what he can do. I think the Irish St Ledger, though, is going to be a much harder test for him.
Yeah, no, definitely. We'll then head to the UK action, the Hackwood Stakes. Symbol of Honour beat Mitt Bahi by a length and a quarter. William Buick and Charlie Appleby's now 2 from 2 at Newbury in his career.
Not much more to elaborate on that, really. Become a little bit underwhelming, but clearly the flat track, quick ground configuration of Newbury suits. Whether they look at trying to find a Group 2 later on in the season, could be a very hard horse to place now. But look, horses for courses, and did it well.
Yeah, anything to add?
No, I think you're right about being a really hard horse to place. I don't know what I'd do, to be honest. But it wasn't that long ago. It was only last year he was sent a 4-1 for a July Cup.
Yeah.
And although he didn't quite achieve those heights, and since then has been a bit disappointing, went to Meydan, didn't really do what they thought he might do. It's quite nice to see him back. And now that he won, well, I thought was pretty impressively at Newbury, then, you know, I think stepping back up in grade, it's going to be interesting to see what he can do, but I agree with that. I think it's going to be difficult to place him because I'm not sure he's quite Group 1 sprinting level. Possibly Group 2, Group 3 is where we're going to see him at his best. But at the same time, Charlie Appleby's are firing again, so, you know, interesting to see what they do next, whether they go to York. I think there's a race there at some point over a similar distance, Group 3, Group 2. But, yeah, I'm not sure he's quite Group 1 level over a sprinting distance myself.
No, it was a competitive heat, but, yeah, they were a bit of a minefield at the minute, though, aren't they, these sprints. The super sprint, Zig Zig R won a bunched finish, beating Angels Lane and Final Appeal, a 1-4 for homebreds for Phil Cummingham and Richard Spencer. I mean, this was a bunched finish. I didn't know which way it was going to go.
Yeah, it was a cracking finish, really exciting. This race is a race, right? It always.
That is a quote.
This race is a race. I just think it's probably not worth a huge amount form-wise going forward. It might be, but generally it isn't, I don't think. Zig Zigar just about got the verdict. Another great advertisement for Roger Singh as a sire. I think he's so underrated. Basically, Phil Cunningham is the new person who seems to use him because obviously he owns the horse still. But Roger Singh is definitely doing better than I think a lot of people expected. He's actually still pretty cheap if you want to get involved, sending a mare to him. But yeah, it was a really exciting finish, and Safi, I thought, gave him a really good ride. Not much to add apart from the Final Appeal back in third, showed what he can do as well. A much better run than he produced behind Adonias at Chester. So after a gelding operation, I think he's probably got back to somewhere near his best. But I suppose just a bit of a thrilling climax to that one.
Yeah, I thought there might have been a bit of a draw bias. I was on the Richard Hannon horse, Roll the Dice Baby, and after about a furlong, I thought, yeah, I'm going to be on the wrong side here, given it being either pace or where the races were then being done. I think finished about 7th or 8th, but I think you probably upgrade that run.
Yeah, probably not a race I particularly will be taking a great deal out of going forward, just because you say the nature of it, bunch finish. I know Tom's a big fan of Spice Girls, that's probably where his interest will continue with the winner. But yeah, the race is a race. What was the quote? I like that.
This race is a race.
This race is a race. Yeah, treat it in itself intrinsically. I'm not sure it would be one to take huge swathes of notes from going forward.
Yeah, same might be applied for the Steventon Stakes, to be honest. The handicap has done that at least. Persica won, justified a short price at evens. The handicapper today has left him alone on his mark of 114, which might say it all about the race.
Yes, but fair play, well done the connections. Sean Levy beforehand said he was nervous about the ground being as quick as it was. 'Cause it was pretty quick, essentially, and he said he always felt Persica slightly better with cutting the ground. We saw that in the Epsom earlier in the season when Chin by, was it Seagulls 11? And the soft ground there, but he always said the horse is much happier with a bit of give underfoot, even money, rattling ground. But yeah, again, real good resolve. You'd love to own Persica, you know, dance is the dance, a bit of a street fighter, and yeah, got the job done on the day, and you know, connections will be chuffed.
Yeah, he just shows his versatility, doesn't it? Anything between 7 furlongs, a mile and 2, turns up, runs his race, and if one is better than him, then fair enough. But there aren't many.
Yeah, I mean, sorry to say, but he's the owner's dream, isn't he? The old cliche. But you'd love to have him, wouldn't you? Because he just always runs his race. We know his level, right? He's Group 3 at his best. Listed level is where I think we see him, like we did on Saturday, pretty easily winning. Although I thought Oceans 4 actually did pretty well to run as well as he did. First time cheek pieces on he was wearing that day, and he kept on very gamely, and I thought at one stage he might actually hold off Persica. But yeah, I mean, Persica, I thought he was unlucky not to win at Epsom. It was the head bob, wasn't it? I thought that the conditions of that race were completely ideal. We know he's won that race before in the past at Epsom. One other horse to mention in that Steventon, Alzanati, 5th, way too keen, and it's a shame because actually when he started his career, I thought this is going to be a 3-year-old that we're going to have a lot of fun with. He looks exciting. Went to Sandown, finished 3 1/4 lengths behind Rahib. That was his first run of the season. I thought no shame in that. Was an impressive winner. Can't wait to see him next. But in 2 starts since, he's been really disappointing. He's obviously too fresh. Whether they put a hood on him, whether they try and calm him down a bit, I don't know. But he just looks a tricky individual now, and I'm not sure whether he's going to fulfil that early potential.
Yeah. Interesting horse, but just needs to learn to be a racehorse. Really.
Exactly, yeah. And I think there's probably, he's still lightly raced.
Yeah.
There could be more to come, but they're going to, and they are good at that. Charlie Appleby is a past master at getting horses who are really keen to settle. I think Master of the Seas might be the most pertinent one in that regard. But I just think they've got some work to do with him, basically.
Yeah. Was there anything else that caught your eye over the weekend? We had good action Group 2s over in Ireland, the likes of Power Blue winning. Big Gossier Gallant second in that race. Anything else that took your eye?
Yeah, two. I'll mention two. I thought Celeron was really, really impressive in the Railway. Now, the form might not work out great because the favourite was disappointing and in the end it rather fell apart a bit, but you couldn't help but be impressed with the way that he strode out in the closing stages. And Oisin Murphy was really just doing it hands and heels towards the end. And actually he drew clear for a very taking success. Yeah, you put 50 to 1 now.
Yeah, 50 to 1 with Bet365 for the
2,000
2,000 guineas, because that was muted afterwards by his trainer, which I thought was quite a bold shout, because he only finished midfield in the Windsor Castle before, hadn't he?
Yeah, agreed. I do think they regard him very highly, and I think a mile is going to be perfect for him, just by the way he stretched out in the final throws there. So he was impressive. And the other one to mention, Tokaido, in the pre-Robert Papin, which of course is disappointing because only 3 runners turned up. It was the same with July Stakes, only 3 runners in that as well. Very strange in my view, and I know that some people are saying it's because there's too much racing. But you look at Royal Ascot, and the fields were fully subscribed for all those 2-year-old races, 20 to 25 runners in each of them, and or pretty much anyway. And you've got 3 runners in 2 of the other big Group 2s. So I don't quite get it myself. But Tokaido, Amy Murphy says, is the best horse she's ever trained, and she's trained some good ones on the flats. But you can understand why, because he just keeps winning. And actually, he's beaten King of Clocken, who's a decent yardstick winner at Royal Ascot, in really pretty easy fashion, given the fact he didn't start great in the race, missed the break a bit. So he's got an entry in the gym crack. Would love to see him taking on some proper speedsters in that at York, and that'll be his acid test, but I think he might be up to it.
Yeah, really exciting, isn't it? Yeah, we need to start breeding for speed, don't we? Precocious 2-year-old sprinters. It's as if we don't do that already. Ed, anything else that took your eye?
Yeah, note 3. I'll come on to the main one in a minute. The Market Raisin had some good action. Obviously, Kingston Narcissus would be the one I'd take out of the, not take anything away from the winner in the plate. Harry Skelton's actually fuming 2 days later, wasn't he? See his interview, he just thinks he messed it up. He was quite honest. He said if he can have another go at that, perhaps would have held on a bit longer. He said it became a real tactical battle. I think he feels that was one that just massively got away and he could have made his challenge a bit later. I see them mooted perhaps 3 miles further down the line. Look at his pedigree, it would suggest the total opposite. I wouldn't be in a rush to send Kingston Narcissus up 3 miles, but all in all, I think on another day, Cookie crumbles correctly, he could win another big pot off his mark for the Skeltons. I don't think he's going to be worried about Martin Pipe's record, trying to get 2.44, 3.44. It's under more threat, isn't it? The way this yard are going is ridiculous. And the other horse on the card, we were sent off pretty warm order for the hurdle, was Louis Veron, and just ran no race at all. Now, Dan Skelton's explanation to the stewards afterwards, he could offer no explanation for such poor performance. Now, you throw in the cliche, don't you, where you've had a horse bolt up at Stratford in a egg and spoon race. They go into a 20-runner handicap hurdle. Straight away, you could trot out the line. Oh, there's all too much for him. First starting a big handicap, inexperienced show. He actually jumped really well. He travelled really well to point and then just stopped. Now, Harry Skelton's come out subsequently and said, just thought the horse ran totally flat. And perhaps the third start in 6 weeks had taken its toll. He was off 1.24 there. He's going to get a mark in the low 120s. I'm sure that I could see him coming back Cheltenham's October meeting, give him a nice break while the ground's good in the autumn and he can run up a sequence. I'm convinced he's well handicapped, a very good horse. You don't win the manner in the manner you did at Stratford like that without being better than 124, I don't think. And he looked quite robust for a 5-year-old. I just don't think the race, it was just a race, one race too many in terms of cumulative effect. So keep him on your side, Louis Veron. But Star of State at Leopardstown. To get me excited about Leopardstown Maiden, it's going to be good. And if anyone, I know you both saw it, Star of State was phenomenal. This filly, Joseph O'Brien, absolutely took off. Was sent off 1-3 on a second start, but smashed the field up. 9 lengths in a canter in the end. I mean, so much so that the camera nearly fell off the stand. The feed went down, didn't it? Watching the race, but it was a seriously good performance. It was in a really good time. Ratings wise, whichever firm you use have all kind of given her a pretty solid mark for that. And I was saying it's kind of a blend between 6 furlongs and a mile on pedigree. That was an extended 6. She was striding out strongly at the end. Maybe the niche 7 could be on the radar, but showed gears to burn. So I think she's quite exciting. Star Estate, going to keep her eyes wherever she goes. No doubt they'll be going Pattern Company next time out and dip their toe in the water. But yet another Joseph O'Brien individual. But yeah, Star Estate very much in my tracker next time in mind. Just
on the Harry Skelton ride on Kingston's Narcissus, what do you think? Do you think I actually think he got it right.
Yeah, I've watched it about 3 times, and it's funny how that's a good point. When I watched it, and maybe it's just my bad analysis, I wasn't necessarily thinking a jockey's got this right or messed it up. I just thought sometimes we overanalyse everything.
Yeah.
I thought it was just one of those on the day. It was a cracking race. There's fine margins. Someone's got to lose, someone's got to win. And that was the case of it. But Harry Skelton's interesting. He seemed to... He was inferring he'd taken it to heart a little bit, and in his mind, he could have done something a lot different. He didn't over-elaborate, but he insinuated perhaps he could have held on a lot longer and made the challenge at the end. But we'll see. I just still think there's plenty of mileage. That was the furthest the horse had gone, 2.5. I think there's mileage in that intermediate trip on good ground for him, essentially, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I thought he was just being a bit harsh on himself.
Yeah.
Because they went so quick, didn't they, in that race? And he kind of he kept his powder dry, and then I thought came with a perfect challenge. I'd just been beaten by a horse for first time headgear, clearly well handicapped. I didn't think there was too much.
But I suppose Harry Skelton, the levels they're setting, isn't it? It's like elite level. If it doesn't quite work, it's how can we get it right? So, but definitely horse. Team Scouting always keep their horses on side, but Star Estate got to be very excited on a Thursday evening.
Yeah, I thought Queensbury Boy would have been an unlucky loser, to be honest, because didn't get the clearest of passages coming into the straight as well, and obviously it would have been the target for Mickey Bowen. They've got such a good record in that race.
And he was favourite, wasn't he, for the Summer Cup at Uttoxeter, and didn't run great, but they obviously thought he was well handicapped, and he was.
Yeah, he cost a lot of money out of the David Maxwell dispersal, didn't he, back in the day?
Yeah.
You mentioned Louis Vuitton, obviously High Fibre won that, just another good bit of business for James Owen, picked up relatively cheaply. I think he's now won more in prize money in that race than what he actually cost to buy. Yeah, so that's
job done.
Job done. Book Sean Bowen, and a nice win there.
What a ride!
Yeah,
what a ride that was. I mean, we give superlatives to Sean Bowen all the time, quite rightly, but I mean it was just sensational, wasn't it? I mean he is so strong, isn't he? I think he might be the strongest jumps rider since AP. He just has so much power in the finish.
You see his biceps. He was strolling around the Newton Abbot weighing room with his body protector on and his arms out, like, welcome to the gun show, giving it all that. Like, he's quite a modest lad, Sean, but yeah, as you say, wouldn't want to arm wrestle against him.
There is,
you'd be all right.
There's just a sense of inevitability, isn't there? As soon as he's within kind of 2 lengths of you, approaching the 100 yards, you're like, oh no.
That's the other thing as well on that day. I mean, Harry Skelton was getting done by both Sean and James in tight finishes. That's possibly why he took it to heart so much. He's thinking, what can I do? This is awful.
Yeah. I mentioned Power Blue winning that Minstrel Stakes. That actually had been about a year since Ammo Racing had won a race at group level in the UK
is that
or
right?
Ireland.
Good stuff. Wow.
So, yeah, they'd obviously gone for a bit of a tough time. But Power Blue, I think he was the winner a year ago that provided that group level victory.
They do tend to tilt at windmills though, don't they?
Yeah.
They often overface their horses and in races they can't quite handle, whereas Power Blue was dropped in grade, which is probably why they had a winner. I mean, they're actually putting him in the right race for once, and often they don't. They had a big price winner of a maiden, didn't they? 50-1 at the weekend as well, at Rosser Road.
Yeah, that was impressive over in Ireland. Yeah, you touched on that. Obviously, Ancient Egypt ran really well, didn't he? Maltese Cross ended up winning that Group 1 over in France on Thursday.
The winner's a horse. I mean, Maltese Cross. Today we've had the race as a race, and the horse is a horse. But you know what I mean, though? Maltese Cross is a proper weapon, I think. I mean, nothing went right and he still won. And he got Tom Marquand out of a bit of a hole, although I didn't think Tom could have done much. But at the same time, I mean, St Ledger, if Maltese Cross goes there, if they go to the Arc, either race he'd have a right chance, and he's improving all the time. You look at the way he scraped home in that Lingfield Derby trial, and he looked like, he's got talent, but he's just a bit of a grinder, and maybe he
doesn't do anything in a hurry.
Exactly, not particularly fast.
Town Moore's home straight probably really suit.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Just wind him up and just wait half an hour for him to hit top gear.
For sure, but I actually think maybe I was doing him a bit of an injustice, because I think he's got more of a turn of foot than I thought.
Yeah. I think he'd be justified to go something like the Niel to actually see if you are an Arc horse.
Yeah.
That race is often a small field though and a slowly run contest, which obviously wouldn't suit him. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see which way they go with him. But yeah, Maltese Cross it's nice to see the Derby form actually working out, isn't it? Because we've had a few come in there.
Still waiting for Pierre Bonnard to turn into Frankel. Well, no, I'm going to die on that cross, I think, gents.
Next time we see him in the first silks, we'll know that it's the day.
It's the day, yeah.
Maybe.
And Joseph O'Brien will have the winner.
Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant. That seems like a good place to end this week's Racing Recap. So before we get into our weekend preview, just to let you know that our sponsor Bet365 have a best odds guaranteed offer. It's available on every single UK and Irish race from 8 AM on the day of the race. If you take a price and the SP is bigger, Bet365 will pay you out at the bigger odds. Full terms and conditions can be found on the website. So the main action comes from Ascot this weekend. The King George, 10 entries. Last year's winner Calandagan heads the market. I think it probably says it all that last year's winner Lambourne is 100-1 for this contest. Tom, brilliant field. Who are you with in this?
Do you know what? I hope all the principals turn up, because we could have an absolute firework display, couldn't we, in this? It's such a mouth-watering race in prospect. I'm so delighted that looks like Masquerade Bull's going to run and the Japanese going to try and win it, because they've had some very good horses take part in this race in the past. Perhaps the most notable was Aishin Hikari, who was beaten at 13-8 on, behind My Dreamboat, of all horses. But he's got that top-class form in the book behind Calandagan in the Japan Cup of last year, one of the best races I've ever seen on the flat, and I will stand by that. It was so exciting. Nip and tuck the whole way to the line. Obviously, Calandagan just got the better of him, but the fact they're clashing again is fascinating. You throw in the 3-year-old there as well, Benvenuto Cellini, who's got to improve markedly, in my book, to win a race like this. Yes, he won the Irish Derby last time. It was Naden O'Brien benefit, 1, 2, 3. Didn't think he ran particularly well. Certainly didn't run to the level I expected him to. This is a big step up in class, taking on both Calandagan and Masquerade Bull, whose level of form is significantly higher at the moment. Mini Hawk, if she runs, don't know if it's going to be a certain that she does. A mile and a half will suit much better than a mile and a 2 last time. Would be surprised if she didn't go prominent, even try and make the running. And you got Goliath in there as well. If they sent him too, then he's got a chance. He's won the race in the past. Kalpana. I mean, it's a proper race. I'd be with Calandagan myself, because he's been there and he's done it. We know exactly how good he is. And what I love most, I think, about his win at Saint-Cloud last time was that he did that off the back of what can't have been a pretty pleasant experience, really, at Epsom, the Coronation Cup. The ground was horrendous. He was beaten 42 lengths. Francis Graffard came out and said afterwards he didn't want to run him. And you can understand why. I mean, I was there that day. It was just horrendous. Probably the last day of rain we've had in this country. But then to go out and win at Saint-Cloud, particularly in the manner that he did, when, again, Mikel Barcelona, as he has been known to do recently, gave him a lot to do, but he still came out and won, I think was very encouraging. This is going to be his World Cup or Gold Cup, isn't it, for the season? So I'd be with Calandagan, but what a race, lads. I really hope they all turn up, because it could be a cracker. Yeah,
just the odds with Bet365. Calandagan 11-8. Irish Derby winner Benvenuto Cellini 11-4. Tom touched on Masquerade Bull 7-2. Mini Hawk 7-1 if you choose to go here. Ascot specialist Kalpana 8-1. Goliath 9-1. Won it 2 years ago. Was, I thought, unlucky in the Hardwick Stakes. Christophe Soumillon obviously lost his iron, didn't he? Then you got the likes of Bay City Roller. I imagine he won't run on the faster ground. And then as I touched on, Lambourne 100-1.
Deep, isn't it? Very deep. Be slightly nervous about good to firm for Kalpana. I think she's just better with a little bit of give. This got me a little bit confused. Calandagan, as part of me saying 11-8 is a very big price. You know, you could make a very cogent case this horse should be odds on. You just wonder, is the horse... It was a bomb out at Epsom for obvious reasons, where almost Darry should have been in there and Calandagan had been better at Royal Ascot on a runway, you know, the way it worked out. And then, look, it was can you call it a confidence-boosting success last time out? But it didn't wow you, did it? But it was a win. The Calandagan of last season, Pete Calandagan, absolutely, I just think, annihilates Benvenuto Cellini, to be honest with you. Obviously, 3-year-old allowance, etc., etc. It's something not quite an ad. It looks too good to be true to me. Calandagan, form figures 1-2-1-1 at Ascot. Been there, done it, loves the ground. Calandagan's Calandagan. There we go, there's my quote of the day.
Nice.
Yeah, good night. See you later, alligator. I think Clandaghan will win. I do agree. I think Mini Hawk, I'm watching it back, didn't actually run all that badly behind Ombudsman at all, over 10 furlongs. And she was in 18th gear, a long way out. She was really having to go in top revs just to stay with them. And then the stamina did kind of pull her through in the closing stages there. I think the return to the Oaks trip is going to be much more to her liking. I could see her, perhaps on the front end making this a real test and hanging in there, if you like. But Clandaghan odds against, I think it's fair. It's not normally my modus operandi. I want to get my long shot goggles on and look for a Daydream or someone. That's my kind of angle in here. But yeah, Clandaghan 11-8. Got no quibble with that, really. You're backing the best horse who's been there and done it. You've pretty much got everything in your favour. The negative would be a bomb out at Epsom, but for aforementioned reasons, which are valid excuses. And then a win last time out, albeit not with brilliance, but it was a win. But yeah, Clandaghan for me, I'm with the Fav.
Yeah, 3 votes then for Clandaghan here. I think 11-8 is very fair. Like you said, Ascot form, the only time he's been beaten at Ascot is on soft ground when narrowly beaten by Anmar in that Champion Stakes a couple of years ago. Yeah, I just think he's really, really solid. And yeah, I'd agree with you also that Mini Hawk, I think, should be a shorter price than Benvenuto Cellini. Maybe that means that she's not going to run and head straight to the Yorkshire Oaks.
Yeah.
But yeah, if she was to step back up to 1.5 miles, that's definitely going to suit. The big handicap is the Moet and Chandon International Stakes. The unbeaten Extremely Zane heads the market here at 5-2. You've got Mescala, the winner of the Buckingham Palace handicap, in at 6-1. Back in Black, 15-2, who was a runner-up in the Bunbury Cup when last seen. Completely random, I think probably went to everyone's trackers when second in the Wokingham. He's next in at 8-1. Acadian Thunder, 10-1. The Bunbury Cup winner, Alto, at 12-1. It's 16-1 bar. Tom, competitive heat. I think the majority of these towards the top of the market are going to run. Are you with or against the favourite, who I thought had a touch of group level sprinter about him at York last time?
He had a sprinkle of magic, didn't he, at York? And for a horse to get no run like that at York in a handicap like that one, it was very competitive, and to still win going away by 2 lengths, he only had about a furlong to go from his uncompromising position to the front, and he just streaked clear. It was ridiculously impressive off 93. Now, he's been raised up to 101 now, but I mean, he's unbeaten, and he looks like the archetypal group horse in a handicap, as you say. So, yeah, I mean, I fear him, but he's just too short. Yeah. I mean, what price do you say he was?
5-2.
Yeah, it's just too short for me in a race like that. Now, I've given up trying. I know we haven't got the draw yet, but I'm giving up trying to work out the draw on the straight track at Ascot. Because there's no point.
No point.
There isn't any point because
I think I said that on the last show.
It changes every day. The draw at Ascot would change most days. So even when the draw comes out, I'm going to be like, well, I hope I'm on the right side. But I'm going to go with a horse who has become extremely well handicapped, Acadian Thunder, for David Amara. And if anyone watched him at the weekend at Doncaster, when he finished 5th, beaten a length and 3/4 behind a goalie, he just got no run at all. Travelled like a dream, was chopped for room at a vital stage, didn't get through, and in the end, David Nolan quite rightly just gave up because there was no point. However, he has become exceedingly well treated because he was in 2025 at Royal Ascot beaten by the now Group 1 horse Never So Brave. That was off a mark of 95. He beat the rest senseless in that Buckingham Palace handicap, and it was a mighty run. Since then, he struggled a little bit off higher marks, but that was off 95. He's now off 88, so he's £7 lower, and you can see from Doncaster at the weekend that he is coming back to form. This is the kind of mark he can be very competitive off. We know the straight 7 at Ascot is ideal for him. He ticks so many boxes for me. I think he's got a right chance, and I know that it's a really competitive handicap, huge field, but Acadian Thunder makes so much appeal for me. I think he's just one of those horses that he needs everything to drop right for him to win. But if it does, there's no doubt he's treated enough to win this, I think. Unless he bumps into a horse who's a potential Group 1 horse in Extremely Zane, which is possible.
Yeah, and I think yesterday when I checked, jockey bookings are for Jamie Spencer. So, yeah, you can imagine if you're going to be backing him, you're going to be hiding behind the sofa a furlong.
Well, you will be, because he's the kind of horse that
exactly,
needs to be held up.
It's literally the perfect Jamie Spencer ride.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can completely see that. Acadian Thunder at 10 to 1 then for Tom in the Moet and Chandon. Ed, who for you?
Well, just interesting, the favourite's gone up £8 for that York win. You've got the Buckingham Palace winner, Mezcala, got up £4 for that win. So Mezcala's got the hurly-burly Ascot vibe ticked, if you like. Not a race I'm probably going to be getting involved in. I had down here with a big kind of weather asterisk was Vafortino for Charlie Fellows, whose last 2 wins have come in listed level, is a previous course and distance winner. And the last time the horse was in a handicap off a mark as low as this, I came back in a winner's enclosure. But I'd just be nervous about, I mean, it's good to firm there now. There were a few showers around, which now seem to be disappearing by the minute. So Vafortino's won on good twice, good to soft a couple of times. I just think real quick ground might just see Vafortino taken out of his comfort zone, but no doubt he's well handicapped. I mean, he's a two-time listed winner, running off 100 basically, and I think his last win and handicap came off 101. So and he's won over course and distance, so he's just one of those I might be tempted into at a big price if there was a mysterious rain cloud around. But it looks to be between those the progressive sorts at the top, doesn't it really? So probably a watch and brief for me on balance.
Yeah, Vafortino available at 33 to 1. Both the Jamie Osborne horses kind of were interesting to me. They both run under £3 penalties because they're both last time out winners. Amazing Journey won over 6 furlongs here in impressive style last time, been raised £8 for that 2.5 length victory, runs here £5 well in at the weights as a result. And then Room Surface was the other one. Stable debut last time at Newcastle, was relatively unfancied, was 22 to 1 that day, was fitted with a first time tongue tie and blinkers combo. And again, he's only £1 well in under a £3 penalty, but I thought both of those were interesting. Safi's jocked up on both of those, so I imagine only one of them will run. Yeah. But yeah, I like the fact that they're both coming here off the back of a win. And
make a case for either, can't you?
Exactly. Yeah. So I thought at 12 to 1 for Amazing Journey and 20 to 1 for Room Service, I thought I could make a case for either of those, but they wouldn't be anti-post plays for obvious reasons. We've got a good supporting card over at York as well. The York Stakes is a Group 2 over 1 mile and 2. The Dante winner, Item, currently heads the market there. He is available at 15 to 8 with Bet365 at the time of recording. Royal Champion, last year's winner, is available at 9 to 4. Demisis at 4 to 1, going back up in trip, having slightly disappointed over 1 mile in his last couple of starts. And then the York Specialist, Pride of Arras, available at 7 to 1. Ed, who do you like in this?
Yeah, I'll be with Pride of Arras. I just do like those horses for courses kind of syndrome. Pride of Arras has a real Jekyll and Hyde CV, doesn't he, really? I mean, he runs £10 better at York than anywhere else. It's like he forgets how to be a racehorse when he goes elsewhere. And it's not like he's a horse who in the past has particularly had to show he's building up to a big performance. I mean, he ran absolutely no race before winning back at the track last time, and just seems to smell the Yorkshire air and come alive. And I'd probably take the chance of Pride of Arras. You should say, he loves the Knavesmire, former Dante winner. You've got the current Dante winner, Item. I do think he'll be much happier back down at this trip on quicker ground. Yeah. That's an obvious angle. World Champion is the very solid yardstick here, defending champion, officially rated 121, so the best horse in the field, in inverted commas, and sets a pretty good barometer. And then you've got, Damasus, back up in trip, not a miler, doesn't have the gears. And you've got some good horses in here. Dancing Gemini is thoroughly unexposed at this trip. Didn't actually run all that bad, I didn't think, at Royal Ascot in a very hot race. Good race, hope they all stand their ground, but I cannot see any reason why Pride of Arras wouldn't run. And if he does, and a couple of the protagonists, they decide to throw the towel in and not turn up, I can see Pride of Arras going off a bit shorter. So I'd argue he probably is an anti-post play at 7 to 1. And he's not got lots to find, and he has got that Knavesmire factor. So yeah, Pride of Arras at 7s will be my play.
Yeah, I'd be in complete agreement with you. I think it'd be a win-only selection as well, because he's kind of banged. Well, he either blows out. But I find it really interesting the fact that Ross Orion is heading to York to ride, because he had a good book of rides, I think, at Ascot. If he wanted to go there, Rafe Beckett's got a few there, and obviously he'd pick up spares from a few others. So yeah, the fact that he's going over specifically to ride Pride of Arras, I think he's got 3 other rides on the card, but I found that quite eye-catching. I imagine he's in better form at home than what he has been showing previously. Yeah, so I'd weigh in behind Ed and Pride of Arras at 7 to 1 in the York Stakes. Tom, for you?
Yeah, I completely get it. I can see him running a big race. I'm going to be with last year's winner. I think he's just as solid as they come. I mean, I thought he ran really amazing, isn't it? He was sent off 16-1 behind Romantic Warrior at Chandon. Just shows you the level of that race. I mean, Romantic Warrior, Masquerade Ball, and Sosi in the front three places. I mean, ridiculous. So what I'm trying to say there is that he's going to come to the Sky Bet York Stakes and find it a lot easier. That's for sure. Won the race last year very impressively. I think it's a little bit harder, this race, than it was last year. This is a tougher contest. I think Item is fascinating, back to the scene of his Dante win, which he was really impressive in. Again, though, he's got to bounce back from that horrible experience that he had at Epsom, which was, I think, probably was a horrible experience in the ground that he had to deal with, beaten 26 lengths. So you're taking a bit on trust, particularly taking on the older horses for the first time, and they are older, aren't they? Because Royal Champion is 8 years old now, but still seems to be firing on all cylinders. And I think he's just a very solid player. What is he, 9-4, something like
that? Royal Champion's 9-4.
Yeah, I think that's pretty solid. I mean, Item is too short for me, given what happened last time, and he's taking on the elders for the first time. So I think if you can get 9-4 for last year's winner, who's got a higher level of form than any of these, they need to raise their level to get to his level, which they might do. But he's proven at this kind of level. So yeah, I'd be keen on him.
Yeah, you touched on Item racing against his elders. The last 3-year-old winner of this race was Best Alibi in 2006. Now, I hadn't gone through all the previous renewals of how many 3-year-olds have actually run in the race. But yeah, going back to 2006 for the last 3-year-old winner, it would hardly inspire confidence behind a 15-8 favourite. Albeit that I did watch the Derby back, and he does travel really well into the race, and then stopped very quickly, be it either distance or ground late on. And I did go back. I remember when we previewed the Derby, going through and looking at his pedigree and saying, I don't think you're going to stay the mile and a half, especially on soft ground. So yeah, I think coming back to 10 is definitely the right move for Item. But yeah, for me, I think Pride of Arras might well prove the best horse in this race at York.
And just on this race, it is responsible for one of my favourite commentaries ever, which was when Thundering Blue won this contest and Malcolm Tomlinson went into supersonic mode. It is very funny. If you get a chance to watch it back, do, because it's one to savour, I have to say.
Definitely. Tom, I'll stick with you for anything else. We've obviously got a couple of good supporting races at Ascot, the likes of the Valiant Stakes, the Princess Margaret, even like the Tyra Stakes over in Ireland in the week as well. Yeah,
I'll let you have a look, if you can, at the prices for the Valiant. I don't know if Bet365 priced it up yet, but it's the Group 3 at Ascot on Saturday.
Yeah, I'll run through those. Tulane is 8-11 favourite. Secret of Life, who's the reason why I'm keen on Pride of Arras, because obviously unbeaten for Rafe Beckett. Ross Orion ridden in all of her starts, is next in at 9-2. Kontiki, who could have Ryan Moore on for the first time, according to Jockey Bookings, at 11-2. Skydance 6-1. It's 12-1 bar.
Yeah, the reason I mentioned the prices, I think Secret of Life should be a little bit closer in the market to Tulane, to be honest. I know that Tulane was a little bit unlucky behind Precise. Not that I think she would have won the Coronation Stakes, but she didn't get the clearest of runs. But Secret of Life really impressed me at Sandown. The way she did it, she went from the front and she had them all off the bridle a long way out, and she just drew clear and kept on going further clear. Yeah, it's a little bit of a concern that Ross is not on this time. The first time he's not been on, as you say. Safi Osborne takes the ride, though. That's fine, absolutely fine. She's going great guns at the moment. It was her first start over a mile, wasn't it, at Sandown? She loved the trip, Secret of Life. So, given the fact she's unbeaten, this is obviously a massive step up, taking on the likes of a Tulane, who is a bona fide Group 1 filly at her best. That said, though, everything keeps going wrong for Tulane. And until she gets back in the winners' enclosure, I'd be keen taking her on, to be honest, because she has been very keen in the past. And although she wasn't at Ascot last time, that was a slight change in her demeanour for the better. But it's not necessarily going to be the same again. So given the fact that Secret of Life is so straightforward, she's talented, I can see her potentially trying to make all again, actually being very, very difficult to catch. So she'd be in the Valiant for me, and I wanted actually to head
just before you, so 9-2. You backing her each way or win?
Oh no, you have to. I think you take her on. Yeah, take Tulane on. I think you got to back her to win. To be honest, but she's unbeaten. She's going the right way. Yeah, lots to like.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'll head to Friday actually at Ascot, because they've got a decent card on Friday too, and they've got a really strong mile-and-a-half handicap, Class 2, 0 to 105. A few of these went to Royal Ascot and took part in the King George V, for example. Unlike my selection, Theory of Tides. who goes for Jamie and Safi Osborne. Could be a good day, I hope, for Safi. But Theory of Ties has only had one start for the Osborne team, having come from Jonathan Eddie Gosden, and that was behind Stem at Sandown last time, where he started slowly but finished off with a real flourish and was only beaten a length at the line. Now, that was over a mile and a quarter. Steps up to a mile and a half, just the third time in his career so far. I think there's loads of upside for this horse, provided he doesn't start too slowly again, but I wouldn't be that concerned because he likes to be held up anyway. So even if he does start slowly, I'm sure Safi wanted to take him back anyway. He's quite lightly raced, and I just thought he looked a winner in waiting in a good handicap, stepped up in trip at Sandown last time out. It was his first start off the back of a break, and he looked like a horse next time who's the one to be on. Now, it's a strong enough race, I think. You've got the likes of Al-Azd, who ran so well behind Enceladus in the King George V, finishing second at Royal Ascot, and possibly was a touch unlucky, not getting a clear run. I just think he's taking on Theory of Ties, who looks really well handicapped off 94, just a pound higher for that second. Loads to like about him, I think.
Yeah, you know when you've backed a horse and you think all those years later, oh my God, how did I do that? So I backed Theory of Tides for the King Edward at Royal Ascot when he was supplemented behind Calandagan.
Did you?
So it's kind of where have your careers gone? One's going in a handicap in the 90s and one of them's now basically a short price favourite for the King George, having won the race last year.
Just looked at that Racing Post in-running comment for Theory of Tides in the King Edward. It just says always behind.
Yeah. I mean, I think he was a double figure, but I think he was about 16 to 1, something like that. But you know, when you just look back and you're like, I couldn't have got that any more wrong.
Yeah.
Ed, anything else for you?
No, well, as in there is, but powder dry for the best bets. But of the ones we mentioned, very much Pride of Arras would be the kind of next best for the kind of weekend's action. Yeah,
I think you're going to touch on the Princess Margaret, but I'll just give a bit of a summary of the race because it's just bringing in form lines from everywhere.
Correct.
You've got the 4th and the 6th from the Albany Stakes, Dark Issue, and Dee's Funny Girl. Dee's Funny Girl, latter has been moved to Donica O'Brien after that run. You've got the Queen Mary 6th, Outer Regina in there as well, and then the Windsor Castle runner-up, Moonrise. So it's a really good contest. So stick with us for our best bets, and you'll find out who Ed likes in the Princess Margaret Stakes. And before we get into our best bets of the weekend, just to let you know about Bet365's position payout offer. Go to any horse race that offers the position payout market. Each selection will display a return for finishing 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th and so on. Place your bet and the higher your selection finishes, the higher your payout. As always, terms and conditions apply. Ed, I can't hold on any longer. Who is your best bet for the weekend?
We're in the Princess Margaret Stakes, Outer Regina. For Huathnam Racing, Hamida El Jahani. Really looking forward to seeing this filly up to 6 furlongs. I think that's really got to suit. Watching that Queen Mary back, the low numbers dominated, or at least they did the first 2. Victorious was drawn in 5. Senorita Bonita was in 10. They had it between them on the far side. Near side group, just the ship had sailed. And Outer Regina was in 24. James McDonald was on board. I mean, look, bolted up on debut, then we set off 9-2 to win this in a 94 runner field, and drawn on the wrong side, got going too late, and it was just one of those things. It was the draw bias we can never work out. That was basically your case in point there. But jokes aside, I thought she showed she belonged at that level, but more importantly, I thought the extra furlong would suit. Just when the tempo lifted, perhaps hit a little flat spot, then really got going with the wet sail. Up to 6, and then Jamie Spencer's back on board. And Spencer obviously was on debut. I'm hoping we can have a proper Spencer masterclass here. Up 6 furlongs for the first time, patiently ridden. Gaps have got to open at the right time, etc., etc. But I think she's just crying out for this extra distance. It is a good race. And don't get me wrong, Dark Issue, arguably a little bit unlucky in the Albany. Bit of a rough race, and you can go through all of that kind of Royal Ascot collateral form from all those different races you mentioned, Steve, and say on another day. But I very much think on another day, which is now, I think Outer Regina, up to 6, drawn on the wrong side. You can upgrade that form. Spencer back on, thoroughly unexposed. And sometimes it's like you can't quantify what's been achieved. It's more of a vision of perspective. And it was that debut at Lingfield. I mean, she sent off 5-4 against. It wasn't like 1-6 and was expected to go and trolley them. But absolutely scorched clear in that event on debut. Sent off 9-2, so clearly for Royal Ascot in the Queen Mary, so clearly holds a good reputation. And I just think it was one of those, genuinely, that didn't get the rub of the green on the day. So, yeah, Alta Regina in what could be an absolute belter of a race. You can have the big four all line up. It's going to be an absolute barnstormer, isn't it? But Alta Regina, I think, were we 9-2-ish?
9-2.
9-2, yeah.
Win only or each way?
I'm tempted to go absolute account closer here and go the each way angle because, yeah, this could cut up a little bit and I'd be disappointed if she was out of the frame, to be honest with you. So, no, I've got to go win only at 9-2. I'll be getting too much stick otherwise. But, yeah, Alta Regina, whichever way. It's personal conjecture how you would like to play Alta Regina, but will be my best selection, my best bet for the weekend.
Yeah, there's a big field of entries. I imagine the majority of these are going to take their price, so you might even get an extra place on the day with Bet365,
Exactly.
and that might tempt you into backing each way rather than a win only. Tom, your best bet for the weekend?
Well, I mentioned Theotides, so Theotides probably be my best bet. I just think he's so well handicapped, and it was just beyond eye-catching what he did at Sandown. But I won't go into that again because I've mentioned it already. The other one that I did want to mention, I hope this is going to be out in time for Wednesday night.
Yep.
Good, because Concord Landed runs at Nace. This is a 2-year-old of Paddy Toomey's, a filly who won very easily, zoomed clear at Nace on debut. She's going back there for the Marwell on Wednesday night. And the great thing about this race is that Harry Eustace has been very kind and is making the market because he's running Shimmering Sun in opposition, which means you can get Concord Landed 11-8, 6-4, because Shimmering Sun, who ran in the Queen Mary and ran well last time out, is in there as well. But I think this is a Group 1 filly. She's entered in the Moyglare later in the season. The way she did it on debut, she looks so professional, like so many of Paddy Toomey's do when they have their first start. But she just looked full of speed, a real class act. I'm really looking forward to seeing what she can do in the Marwell. I think she'll win easily. And I expect her to be a proper Group 1 performer by the end of the season. If she is, she'll need to win easily in listed company tomorrow or on Wednesday. So fingers crossed. But yeah, I think if you can get odds against about Concord Landing, that is a very good price.
Yeah. Hopefully she'll take off tomorrow then.
Hey!
For me, I'm going to keep it simple. I think Calandagan will win the King George for the second year in a row. Brilliant form at Ascot, showed that he was back to the same level as he previously had been, winning the Grand Prix de Paris No, it wasn't. It was the Grand Prix de Saint-Cloud.
That's it, yeah.
Last time. So, yeah, I just think Calandagan at 11-8 will win the King George for a second year in a row. Plans for the rest of the week? Where are you, Tom? You've been here, there and everywhere recently.
So, yeah, it's been a busy few days. I'm in the studio this afternoon, so looking forward to that. I'll be at Sandown Friday night, and that's it. I've got a nice, quiet week ahead, which is going to be good. I'm actually going to the 100.
Nice.
Yeah, on Thursday.
Who are you seeing play?
I don't know.
Is there any music on Sandown on Friday night?
Again, don't know. So looking forward to finding out all these things this week.
The cricket game is a game. That's what you're going to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Cricket's cricket. It's going to be a week of discovery for me. But no, it should be fun. And I actually had a great day at York Racecourse yesterday for Racing TV because we did a version of Great British Menu called the Great Yorkshire Menu. And for those who aren't aware, my dad is a former Michelin star chef, so he was the judge, and it was just a lot of fun. I think that's going to be hilarious when it comes out. The chefs on show were Michael Shinners, Dave Nevison, Joe Mason and Anthea Lee.
A lot of microwaves being used then, I presume.
I think they were struggling without them, to be honest. It was extremely funny. So that'll be out on Racing TV, I think, the week before the e-ball meeting. That'll be worth a watch.
Did Nevo's hair fit into a chef's hat?
A hairnet, but it didn't fit in. A lot of it was poking out. And I did feel for those having to taste the food because I'm sure one or two hairs snuck in.
Oh, dear.
It's funny you mentioned around music around these sports events. I was really looking forward to it. Last year I got Tom Jones at Newmarket, so I managed to get in some green grass puns and things into the coverage.
That actually, yeah.
And this year I've got H on Friday, who's that rapper.
Yeah, I wouldn't know his music.
I'm going to have to do a a bit of research ahead of that to try and find
I remember H from Steps, that's all I remember.
No, this is spelled AITCH maybe, so I'm going to have to do some research to try and get some puns into the coverage.
I'm just looking up actually, Sandown Friday, it's the Ministry of Sound Classical.
Ooh, there you go.
Where you could relive the greatest anthems, and it says they're reimagined, so there you go.
Your plans this weekend?
Blend of work and play. Won't name specifically where, but I'm off to a very complicated hedge maze with the kids tomorrow. So,
in case you get stuck?
In case I get stuck, that'll be fine, So, going to be there, blend of work and play and, yeah, just a lovely time of year. Lots of sport still on, even though, as you say, a couple of flagship events have passed by. But yeah, thoroughly looking forward to this. This should be bouting and weekend of action. Hopefully all the protagonists stand their ground. We say it every time we're on the show, and then sometimes it cuts up to just a 4 to 7 poke taking on a few others, and you kind of lose that bubble of excitement, don't you? But generally think we could be, regards that King George, in for an absolute belter, and yeah, should be really good fun. What about yourself?
I'm in the studio for Racing TV on Saturday, so some people will have eyes on Ascot. I'll be having the majority of mine.
Pride of Harris on the schnaff.
At York, thankfully, for Racing TV. So yeah, very much looking forward to that. Thank you very much for joining us on this week's episode of Racing Weekly, brought to you by oddschecker in association with Bet365. Many thanks to both Tom and Ed for joining me again this week. As always, if you've liked what you've heard or watched in this or any of our previous episodes, then please leave us a kind review on Apple Podcasts or in the comment section on YouTube. Rishi will be back in this seat next week. I'll be back in my regular position alongside Ken Pitterson. We'll be looking ahead to the Goodwood Festival. We're recording a day earlier on Monday so we can bring you all of the action for the week. So thank you very much.